So this is the Wallingford Selectboard meeting for April 15th, 2024. We are starting at 6:34, and we have two additions to the agenda this evening. We have a liquor license and a tree discussion to have. Moving on to minutes. This would be for April 1st, 2024.
I'll make the motion to accept.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Please look it over, see if you notice anything. Not hearing any comments. Those who would like to approve our minutes,
Aye.
please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Moving on to pay orders as of April 16th, 2024.
I'll move to pay orders.
Okay. We have a motion?
A second.
Okay. I think I heard Justin
Yeah.
more than Mark,
Yeah,
so
sure.
give Justin the second.
Okay.
Discussion? Not hearing anything? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 You give this to Justin, this is the quarterly financials.
This is, you can pass that down to Justin, thank you. Okay,
Let me give Phil a call and do the tree thing now.
sure.
Okay.
Okay,
I think he's away.
right, Sandy's calling him, because he's,
Yeah, he's got his phone though.
right. So Sandy is calling Phil right now because, as you might know, a tree and stone in, the rec park came down,
Oh, no.
part of it. And it needs to be, the part of it needs to be removed.
Okay. Which tree?
It's the,
Right in the middle of
The-
the two ball, over the ball
Above
field,
the
right?
outfield,
Yeah.
half of a sugar maple.
Yeah.
yeah, right, in the south field, and it's sheared
But we
right
need,
down.
but we need the
So-
trailer to get it out of there.
Well,
I
Phil-
thought the root,
Phil didn't want, the town to do the removal of the tree, cause he's afraid that the equipment that they have is gonna rip up the entire lawn out there.
also
So-
it's not their job, kind of.
So he'd like to see it removed.
Right.
He has also put in a bid for the work as well, but Rob has submitted a bid.
Well, he's probably cheaper than me, so,
Yeah,
is he?
yeah,
Yeah.
Rob is $12.50 and Phil's $500.
Yeah.
Phil can do it with his mini
Yep.
excavator.
Good.
Right, and you probably have to dispose of it
Well,
someplace, so.
well, I
Yeah.
would put it into firewood, he probably is too, but,
Right,
it just take a long time.
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So, we need to make a decision on who we wanna go with for the work. Do we wanna go with
Rob,
Rob, or do we wanna go with Phil?
I think Phil, just because the price difference is better and equipment might go quicker.
My vote was for Rob, cause he's a tree guy, and I was thinking go with the tree guy. But that's just me.
Especially if it's off the tree already.
It is, most of it's down.
Yeah.
Some of it's attached, right?
What's that?
Is some of it still attached to?
No, it came
It's
all the way
all
off.
down.
Yeah,
It's all the way
and
off.
I look at it, I'll look at it again, but what's there is nothing that was holding up what's left broke, but, you
Or
know.
broke, okay.
No, I mean,
Right,
the only thing that broke was what was holding up. So this has still got it, but it's gonna be exposed, so we gotta watch it, because it's
Oh,
gonna
okay.
decay over time,
gotcha,
yeah.
okay.
So if Phil takes it away, Rob, could you then be able to treat the open spot and just make sure it's okay?
Yeah,
Versus, so you don't have to do the work that's gonna take a lot, but just looking that, you
I don't have to do what?
do the work of actually removing
No.
that piece, but just
No,
just
no.
watch on it, just
I
make
think
sure it
that's
doesn't get diseased.
savable.
Okay,
Certainly,
Okay.
if it looked like, you know, we could reduce the weight if there was a danger of it failing, but
Right.
it seems pretty solid, so.
okay.
So Sandy, do we need a motion?
I would just.
Or
put
just
it to 2
consensus?
minutes. Or you could do, well, if everybody agree, well, yeah, Rob's not gonna vote.
With
Right.
Rob abstaining.
Until,
So do we agree to have Phil do the work?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Thank you, Rob.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the tree. Now, the other things that we have for road commissioners, we don't have Phil this evening.
right,
So grants and aid,
yeah, we'll need, that's just a letter to say you're gonna participate again in this.
we've participated in this.
Always.
Always.
Yep. And it's just, you sign it, we don't even know how much money yet,
Okay.
so just that we intend to
So
participate.
consensus on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
Very good.
Okay, great. So yes, you have consensus. Include, the town progress report for the municipal roads general permit. Okay. The town's required to upgrade a certain percentage each year that don't fully meet state standards. We're ahead of schedule. And we've already exceeded the schedule for the April 1st, 2025 deadline. So is there anything
We're not
that?
telling Steve that.
Okay, so is there anything we need to do with
Nope.
that? Okay,
Just an update.
great, thank you. Sidewalk? Sandy talked with Golding Nemeth on April 9th. It's the section of sidewalk on the west side of Route 7 across from Wallingford Thrift.
Right. So I sent you all a photograph of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there, and also the section in front of Bosch's dental office, so is there anything we want to do? I can tell you because I took a survey of our town sidewalks with Bill Brooks back when we were first getting ready to do the project. The part in front of Bosch's dental is owned by all those slate sidewalks that we have, the little portions, and any marble sections we
Yeah.
have are not owned by the town, they're owned by other entities. So any work that has to be done with them has to be done by whoever owns them.
Okay.
So that spot in front of Bosch's is not owned by the town. So anything that we'd like to get done with it, we would have to go to the people who own the sidewalk.
And we just have to ask them, and then if it happens,
Exactly.
it happens.
Yes, pretty
Okay.
much, yes. And then there's the section across, on the west side of Route 7, across from Wallingford.
Which is concrete, so,
Yes,
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was put in by the fire district a number of years ago.
okay.
Isn't the fire district supposed to maintain it?
Just snow plowing.
Yes. They only do the plowing, they don't.
I thought they were supposed
Do
to
the
do the whole
maintenance.
thing.
Well, that's what was
It's the,
believed all these years, but it's not actually
Not
that's
in their
what-
charter. Their charter just says snow plowing the sidewalks. It doesn't say summer maintenance of the walks.
Right.
It says, the town's charter says maintenance of the sidewalks.
The fire districts does not.
Right.
So it's not their responsibility, just snow plowing in the winter. It's the only thing that mentions sidewalks for the fire district.
Yeah.
But, you know, It's one of the better sections of sidewalk.
It is one of the better sections of sidewalk. It's just a little elevated.
You can see where it's shifted a little bit.
Yes. So there's a little bit of a shift.
Problem is you can't take it up, reset it.
Right, because
Never
as soon as you
stick.
try to get going on it, it's gonna crack.
Right,
Yeah.
so the only thing you can do with it is take it out and replace it.
And is it at that point of wear and tear where we need to?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's something that when this one's getting poured, maybe the town can walk over and pull that one, pull it,
Right.
cut the section out, take
Right.
it out, have it ready to pour when this one's getting poured.
Always extra.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah,
extra.
yeah, exactly, but no, I mean, there's always extra concrete,
Yeah.
so just have it framed in,
Just
You know.
one section?
just one 4-foot
That one
piece.
section, a piece of that section. I don't
Just
know.
Is the ground level enough there?
That's the whole
Yeah, but if you pour,
question.
you pour
No,
in,
if you put it in, will it?
Yeah.
I think you can, I think if you level it from one piece to the other.
Okay.
It doesn't
Okay.
help her,
Yeah,
because that's
yeah.
where she fell,
I
but
just-
it's not worse.
Can we patch it with like tar
Right.
just for the summer?
Can, I mean,
I'm not sure.
Because it's gonna get ripped up as soon as the plow goes through in the snow, but just as a temporary thing, if it is enough that it cause somebody to trip, then that might be a good way, just to show that we're trying this until the ever evolving and ever expanding timeline of when the sidewalks are gonna get done.
yeah,
Overall, the condition of that sidewalk is very, very
Right.
good. I don't know if we really want to be tearing up a section. I think maybe we take a look at that a little bit more, because the way the shift looks, it looks minimal from what I'm seeing. Maybe we should go out and take a look and see what we're really
Yeah.
dealing with before we talk about ripping up a section.
Right, right, and I was just saying, just like,
Right.
literally just throw some patch down, so it just basically evens that out for the summer, so.
I think if we did that, we might degrade
Okay,
more of this, we might cause more of a problem than what
Sure,
we're
for sure,
actually
yeah.
fixing. So it might be good for, I mean, I would be willing to go out and take a look at that
Good.
section.
All right.
And then I can take some pictures and report back to you.
Yeah,
Take
and
some
maybe even-
close-ups.
Yeah.
and maybe even just ruler just to take out, just to see how much it's up, so that we can.
That's a great idea.
I mean, if there's minimums that we need to meet for it to be safe,
Exactly, go look. That section.
and also just to
And this is a perfect
Keep
week
track of
for
it.
me to do this because I have vacation. I'm not going anyplace this week, so can add this to the list. Okay, great. Okay. So moving on.
Could I ask a question about sidewalks?
Sure.
When you're walking along, because we walk along the sidewalks a lot now, when you walk along the sidewalks and you cross over someone's driveway, who's responsible for fixing that?
So from what I understand, there's a right of way. And the right of way, how many?
No, it's a
feet is
curb
that?
cut.
And a
curb
curb
cut.
cut. So how much
The
belongs
right of way
to?
is, goes at least to the sidewalk and more.
Right,
Right.
right, so there's a portion of that curb cut and that is state right of way for
Yeah,
state roads.
yeah. Yeah, the state's responsible, or whoever entity, you know, it's not,
Exactly, but then the
It's-
rest of the
the
portion of
driveway
that
is-
driveway belongs to the
Homeowner.
homeowner.
But the part, well, I'm thinking of the house just next to and south of the Rotary Building, the big brick house,
yeah.
Catherine Murphy House. Because, you know, you're walking along and then all of a sudden it's really bad.
Right.
And it needs work to be much better walkability. I was just wondering, like, is it up to them
No-
to
no
put in a
place to look at.
sidewalk?
Right, and I mean, we do have, there's now a list of town of priority roads. Right now, what we have money for is for the portion of School Street.
Right.
that, where the sidewalks are being fixed. So, the sidewalks will continue to be addressed and fixed because they need it. We have places that,
So sometime
Need to be upgraded.
the town would be doing sections like that.
the parts that belong to the town.
Yeah, is it concrete or is it slate?
Neither one.
No, it's asphalt.
It's asphalt,
It's all broken up.
Yeah.
It's-
Ooh.
right.
It looks like maybe like a root or something like that shifted and then.
Oh, yeah. So that sounds like that could be a homeowner
Yeah.
request.
I mean, if it's their paved driveway that's all cracked up, that's
Yes.
their responsibility.
Right. If it's their paved driveway, that's their responsibility. That doesn't fall to the town.
Okay, well, that answered that question.
Okay. Okay. So moving on, you can see that Phil's gonna contact Wilk Paving to get a balance on last summer's paving done before June 30th. And then there is from Vermont Emergency Management, Richard Hosking.
That was interesting.
Okay. The this is what we were talking about. Okay. So Sandy, do you want to give us an update?
Well, so apparently they have put the rec field and the salt loss from the garage in small project review for FEMA. Because they're under $1 million. Why they didn't put all of our projects under small project review, I'm not sure. But, anyway, they've obligated money for the rec field and the salt. Even though all these other roads have been fixed for 6 months, we've got money for the rec field. And because of the dollar amount that they gave us, there's gonna be money left over, and we were told, and I got an email in writing from Richard Hoskins that we can use that money in the future for FEMA eligible projects that would reduce flooding. And I do know that, like like upsizing culverts and things like that, that Homerstone one, Elaine's had a number of issues down there, a number of those residents down there, including the July flood.
And that was something that they wanted to address. I was out on that road visit
Yes. Yes.
and we looked at that culvert and it seems like we have the money to do it. Yeah.
With this.
So there we go.
And there's no like catch-22 thing where we're gonna find out later on that
Well, that's,
you owe
I think that's why Sandy said
$23,480.
we have it in writing.
right, so I did
Okay.
email him and he said,
Use it.
you're correct, or very brief in that
Yes.
email.
Okay.
But he did say we should do a separate bookkeeping, and that Julie knows, so that we can say exactly where that money went. So if they audit us in a couple years, we know where that extra money
Yeah.
went.
Cool. That's great.
Okay.
Before we go on,
Scary when you get extra money.
So Mark?
these stupid signs,
Okay.
yeah. So
What's going on?
we pulled the sign with anticipation that the road crew pulled the signs with anticipation that the new signs were gonna be here 2 weeks ago, or a week ago.
There's still not-
Right, like after our meeting.
Right, that Friday
Yeah.
or sometime.
Yeah.
They never showed up.
Cool.
They sent an email to Sandy that said, hey, call us, give us access to your computer, and we'll help you reprogram them. That's what we asked for
Okay.
back in February.
Right. That's what we
They
originally
finally got
asked
to us
for.
now to help us reprogram them. Problem is, even if they're reprogrammed, the state doesn't really like them.
So this is reprogramming the signs we already have.
Yes,
To make them amber
Right.
and then make them no
yeah.
text.
So the new signs are amber, we're good.
Yeah.
Black backgrounds, the only thing they can't do is they can't say the writing on them. So we can sit and wait, or we can go back out and put these signs up and be done with, we'll cover the, we'll cover the, slow down portion of it like we did before.
And then, so we haven't received the signs
We
that
have,
we were
we have three,
supposed to receive.
right. But we can't get anybody at the company. Sandy was on the phone the other day trying to get the CEO or
Somebody-
the upper management to acknowledge that we're having a issue with these signs. So we get a salesman that says, well, it's not really my job, but I'll help you out. They'll be here next week. And 2 weeks later, we get a tech calling that says, hey, give us access to your computer while you're out on the road, which I don't have that capability, but, and he will help us reprogram the signs.
Okay. So are they saying they're not gonna send us the signs and they
I'm
wanna
getting that.
reprogram our,
Right.
the ones we already have instead, even though the state doesn't like it when this is done?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Did they look at, when we had the sign up at Shaw's, did they look at that sign at all? Did we hear anything back from the state?
I asked Charlie the other day, and no, they haven't.
Okay, so nothing.
Elon City has supposedly shipped those signs, the new signs. But I've
Maybe.
asked multiple times for a tracking number, and then I
Right.
was on the phone with him an hour the other day and didn't get anywhere.
Nothing.
So we don't know if the new ones are
So
coming?
we
or
don't
if
know.
they're not.
I know when they
So
sent the
have you
original
paid for
ones, it took like 3 weeks. It took a long time for the freight to get here.
Okay.
So I don't know if
That maybe
they're
they're
still
held
in
up?
transit.
They could be in
so-
transit?
So we can wait another couple and see what happens.
I
Okay,
think that makes, but
Yeah.
versus doing all that work and doing
Yeah.
the custom
Right.
stuff.
I just, you know,
Okay.
it's kind of, we've been sitting here in purgatory for quite a while trying to
Right,
figure out
right.
what to do with
have
them.
we already paid for these new signs?
The big signs are paid for. We paid for
Okay,
more than what we wanted.
See, we bought them, they shipped them, we received them. But then they put them in the basement for a month or so
Oh.
before they
Didn't
installed
look at
them. But when they went to install them, they were not the right color and they had the flashing
Right.
message. So
gotcha.
they shipped the wrong ones.
Oh, so this is to fix, and we still have those
We
ones?
still have, we have 3 signs, we paid for 3 signs, we
Yeah.
have 3 signs.
Okay,
We just
We
don't
just
dare
don't
to
have
put
the
them
right
up if we're
ones.
gonna have to take them back down. We've already done
then
that once.
I agree with
Twice.
Justin, let's wait and see what happens.
But I also say, like, if we don't hear it by
Yes,
next
exactly.
meeting, then
Yes,
Okay,
most likely what we'll do, we should start putting them up, so we have
Okay.
them up and then say,
Right.
when we get them, we'll take them down, not right away, we'll take them down at our pace.
Right.
Instead of having it like
And they can
shipping
come
it
get
that
it,
back,
right.
yeah, exactly.
exactly.
Because that's what they wanted. We'll give you, we'll
Right.
give you 3 of the ones you wanted.
But they need to go right
Right.
back as soon as.
We gotta send the other 3 right back.
Yeah, no, we can't do that.
No,
If it's not here in 2 weeks,
exactly.
yeah,
Okay,
we've already put a lot of man
Yeah.
hours into this.
I know.
okay. Okay. So moving on. We're on to honorable mentions. So we'd like to thank, town would like to thank Wayne and Deborah Kelly for donating funds for Wallingford Recreation. Yep, thank you very much. And now public comments. Is anyone here with a public comment this evening? No? Okay. Then moving on, Julie. She's here, we have our quarterly financials here, and Julie's here to answer any questions that we have.
Right. So today was tax day. And I'm going to turn over almost 131,000 in delinquent taxes to the delinquent tax collector. That compares to almost 105,000 last year. So we're up a little.
Yeah.
So going down the profit and loss through the end of March, the target is 75%. So going down income, I'm just gonna highlight that anything that's significant. Transfer station, that's gonna, we're over, yeah, that's gonna just go up as people run out of their cards because they don't get them again until August, as you know. Recording fees, which is $45.17, that's way under budget because mortgage rates are high and houses, there's no inventory, so we're not seeing a lot of recordings. $45.20, the 8% penalty, that you'll see that increase now that taxes are delinquent. And so you can see how much interest we've earned on our bank account 6,400, and we only budgeted 300, so some of that will help offset the recording fees that I'm under by. Going down, 4528, the Ralph Stafford Scholarship, that's gonna stay as is. We only awarded it to one person because the other applicant did not go to college. Going down to grant income, we're almost 89,000, and that is offset by grant expenses of 73, so we're ahead on that. Miscellaneous is, once I deduct some large entries, which are just offsets, we're at like $6,700.
Is the miscellaneous also taking the ARPA money? Is that why it's
Nope.
47 or is it just...
No, so in that is the loan funds we got for the grader loan.
Okay, okay,
And
okay.
the ARPA funds are down under 4557. That's
Yeah,
what we
okay.
transferred from our CD.
Okay.
So I haven't opened an account yet because I was gonna wait till the end of the year. The asset fund that the
Right.
voters voted, I think we're earning more interest in this sweep account than we would in a CD.
Okay.
And if it technically was for the next fiscal year, why take that money away? then?
Right.
Okay.
So that was the maximum amount we could put into the fund per what they voted, the voters voted.
Okay.
And the last entry is something new, 4558. That's the Agency of Natural Resources. They bought some land
That's right.
from Timothy Bird and Richard Korchak down in South Wallingford. So they pay for a portion of the taxes now. There's nothing significant in the administration budget. That's varied. Going to town government operations. Office expenses. That I expect to go up once we buy the new copier. We do have 5,000 under miscellaneous to pay for that, but I'm not sure what it's gonna come in at. I have Jill working on that. 5122 records restoration, that will equal what comes in on income, so that will be a wash, even though it's over right now. Transfer station 5150, that's doing well at 63%. Cemeteries, that will be zeroed out. There's no budget, so we have a CD with, I don't know if it's $2,000 or $4,000 that I'll just use to offset. And this is just mowing expenses.
Okay.
We're under Rutland County tax. We over budgeted, so there's some money right there. And then the ARPA expenses, that's what we've paid out so far this year.
Okay.
Total appropriations will stay under budget because we only awarded one scholarship, as you can see, the first line.
Yep.
And Mount Holly Rescue, we didn't pay that $2,500 since they dissolved.
Right.
Highway expenses. Looks like we're over budget, but if you deduct the FEMA expenses, hopefully we'll get reimbursed for that.
Oh, yes.
And if you look at the grader expense, 5346, that includes the payment that we made to CAP for it and a principal payment that we paid on the loan. So that'll be a wash.
Okay.
So we're actually only at 303,000 for highway.
Also, 303?
Hopefully some of the money they don't spend on winter sand and salt will pay for all those truck repairs we had that we
Right.
didn't expect.
Right.
Under public safety, I think the special officer contract will remain under budget since we cut the hours. And then all three under capital, all three of those items will be funded by the end of June. And the last mention is under recreation. I wanted to point out again that under 5805 maintenance, that is actually 34, 47, 35, because we had cut a check in the last fiscal year for $1,200 for that water project that we never did.
Oh.
Right.
So I had to cash the check, so I put it in there. So
Okay.
right now, their budget is actually at $33,154.
Right.
And you knew they were gonna be over budget because A1 had to come 2 or 3 times and Wilson to take care of the lake.
Right.
So I Shannon wants to go over this budget with me, and are they able, I wanted to get your input on, like, they haven't spent anything on your youth sports or rec programs, are they able to spend the rest of those line items?
To basically compensate for the maintenance that they had to do?
Yeah, because they, that was unexpected. Because right now they're at just about at budget.
Right.
And we just bought some, I don't know if it was on the pay order, we just bought some things for the rec field, some soccer nets, and
Soccer balls.
I know they want to do some movies over there, and
Right.
so I'm not,
I
what are
mean,
your thoughts on,
If they wanted to do, they were talking about doing like the inflatable, or just doing outside movies.
Right.
There, like that could go under recreation programs, I would
Right.
imagine, right? If not have to be futz around with or moved or.
right, so I'm just wondering, is it okay if they spend the rest of their budget and they're just gonna be over by,
Right. By how much?
just about 1,000 on that one line maintenance? What are your feelings?
Well, that was all kind of building maintenance, right? Is there, can we take it out of another?
I thought
Like
that's what
the
was
building
decided
fund?
before, there was the
Building fund
building
or-
fund.
Reserve fund? It's up to you.
And that's what we discussed before,
I
Yeah.
think that had been brought up to take it out of,
and not
Put
theirs.
it
but
into the budget, their budget while we're doing this so that we know that it's
And
there
are
and
they,
then.
is,
shift it.
is the water issue and the water cost basically resolved?
no. It's one of those, how do you answer that?
Okay. Because
They still have to
the
find it.
extra money
still
they
need
have
to-
is for water, so I don't wanna double spend money that we're gonna need.
Right, because now they need to figure out how.
The frost hydrant still does not work correctly, and they
Okay.
wanna change that to a, what's the word I wanna say, something that shuts off after a period of time.
Okay,
Right.
right, they wanna shut off,
Yeah,
and at this point, they can't do it.
well, no, it's in their plans to do it.
It's
They
in
just-
their plans,
Right, yeah,
okay.
And that money for that.
And that money is
Right.
for
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
Then what do people think? Should we,
Well, I
do you
think,
use a building fund for the
That's what we,
maintenance and?
yeah, I think,
Especially because it was an emergency,
And then-
not
Yeah.
predictable.
Will that then save that money for water when they need it?
yeah.
Then I think that's what we should, that's my opinion.
that's what we agreed.
Yeah, that's what we talked about last,
Okay.
when it was happening.
So you're gonna use the building fund for, which,
For the maintenance repairs.
For maintenance repairs.
Specifically related to the,
Elfin Lake.
with the Elfin
The-
Lake and the toilet
toilet
situation.
issues.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Yep.
Any questions?
Julie, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So moving on. Okay, we're at emergency evacuation site request. Kim Osmer?
No, she's not here.
Okay. Do we want to move on to the next item? That looks like it's energy. So why don't we move on to that? We have a member of the Energy Committee here with us this evening to answer any questions we have regarding the closed request for proposal drafted by Ken with assistance from Jay White and Sandy for town hall heat pumps. And then the question is how we want to proceed. Do we want this to come out of the building fund or the ARPA now asset fund?
Well, we've
And if you
got,
want to proceed with the heat pumps too.
If we want to
we
proceed
got a
with
problem with the heat
pumps.
pumps, and I still got a feeling that because it's a historical landmark, they're not gonna allow us to put the piping up the outside of the building. So if you're gonna, if that idea is still there, it's almost gonna have to find a way to do it internally.
Well, I was told that there are no encumbrances with the state, that there's no money involved that would kick in.
No. Well, and I'm talking about
Yeah.
this building being a historical landmark. I don't think
We can alter it.
we can alter the outside of the
Outside.
building anymore without special permission, and we've tried that for a generator and kinda,
We are,
From who?
I forget who does
It wasn't
that. It's just.
State
I mean, the
Historical
State
Society?
Historical Society or somebody has to get, because it's a
Look,
historical
this-
landmark.
This building is registered as a historic,
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, whoever registered it, I guess would be the person you'd ask,
well, I think it's been registered for I don't know how long
Yeah.
now, but.
yeah. But whatever entity,
But we reached out to talk to them, I don't know, two years ago about a generator, last year?
It was last
The
year.
year before, and they're concerned about any more, connections on the outside of the building.
yeah.
get a power wall and put it inside.
Or you mean instead of
Put
a generator?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're good and bad, I don't know,
oh,
well,
It's just, it's the way that I remember, like when I was doing solar for the house, he was talking about the ideas that you're paying a tremendous amount of money for something that you don't know when it's gonna be used.
uh-huh.
And it's just sitting there.
so that's the only problem, concern with the heat pumps.
Well, I was told, and I forget who told me that, I think it was Joyce Barbieri, I asked if there were if there was any money ever involved, or if the historic preservation has ever contributed any money to this building, and she indicated no. And if that is the case, if there's no attachment, if they've never had any attachment or given the town any money, they really don't have any say on the,
I thought they did with the elevator, or I thought historic preservation did something around the
I
elevator.
think so too. I
They
think
did?
so too.
Okay.
but that was all interior, there's nothing exterior to that, right?
I do know, and Julie will probably remember this too, I don't know if Mark will, when AT&T, before these latest rounds of renegotiated contracts, they were going to extend the cupola,
Yeah, that
and
got
we didn't
shut
have
down.
any way to stop them because of how the original contract was written for their cell tower equipment. But Preservation Trust came in and they had power to stop AT&T from raising that cupola. They were gonna extend it with artificial whatever, but Preservation Trust wouldn't allow it, and that put a halt to it, and then it was time for us to renegotiate the contract, and we now have language in there that they can't alter the building. But Preservation Trust was the only one that stopped AT&T from altering the cupola.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well, I think if that's the case, that's a big issue that has to be addressed before you folks can make a decision.
Right.
Right.
So I think with the discussions from the past, the biggest thing we need right now is to replace that boiler. Because I think that's, so, a price for the boiler, and I think you had a question about an underground, the underground propane tank, where we can put that.
Yeah,
It's gotta be,
well, I'm not really involved in the propane, but the discussion I remember is there are 2 tanks, above grade tanks that would be installed. Ralph?
No,
No?
if you are adjacent to the building, they can only be 100-gallon tanks. Otherwise, if they're bigger, they have to be 10 feet away from the building.
And that gets close to the.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of rumors about, there's no room on that side, but I've talked to the neighbors in that lilac hedge down there. They say is their line, which would put them, their building maybe 5 to 10 feet from their property line, 5 to 10 feet from their house. And so you have to stay 10 feet away from this building, and you've got like a 4-foot wide tank, and then the only restriction is you can't go closer than 10 feet to the neighbor if they have a potential of building there. So visually, it looks to me like we could bury a tank. We need to hire a surveyor. Not easy to find these days. We could bury one. We could have the town road crew dig the hole and fill it in, I suppose, and put it right out here on the side if that line is okay. Other option is these 100-gallon tanks that we set along the side of the building. I know that the Rotary has 4 of those. They're this big, this high. And I wouldn't want to put them up on the hill with the house down there. I would put a slab and put them down at the end of the building. I'm getting into this thing pretty deeply here. If we're looking in the long run, if we're going to put heat pumps on this floor, we're taking quite a load off of the boiler. So maybe, I don't know how many tanks we need, but I would suspect we'd need at least 4, maybe 5 tanks.
So we'd be better off to go with a big tank in the ground.
Boy, it's going to look a lot better, it's safer,
Right.
It's perfectly legal. I was thinking maybe it could be back by the electrical entrance in the ground.
That has to be a certain distance from the electrical entrance too, I
Yeah.
believe, right?
Well, I don't know about that. 10 feet from the building is all I know.
Right.
But regardless, for what we have on the
Yes.
agenda today, which is the heat pump, we just have to figure out with the Historical Society whether or not
Yes,
we can put lines up the side and we have to do it.
exactly.
Well, I would like to get some feedback if there are any questions about the technical aspects of the heat pumps that you folks have. Or is that your only concern is that?
Well, one question is the power to the building going to handle a couple more
Right,
30 amp loads?
yeah.
That's a new minimum 100 amp electrical sub panels required.
Right, so that means we'll have to revamp the service more than likely to the
Correct.
building.
Right.
Well, not
Complete.
bring in a new service, but just redistribute what you have in the panels.
Okay.
There's actually a whole panel there that's just for fire protection, but we can't use that,
Right,
unfortunately.
Right,
But the intent, we had Stubbins look at it, and he said that we should be able to take the existing and just separate a panel for the heat pumps, put another 100 amp panel in
sub panel
there
in, but
without upgrading your
without,
service coming in.
okay, without having to upgrade the service.
Correct.
So just to a sub panel for the heat pumps, dedicated
It's
to the
just
heat pumps.
redistributing what you've got and separating the heat pump, the heating out into its own panel.
Okay.
And to Ralph's point, now that we've been working on this building for a few years now, we have a pretty tight shell. And I'm sure the people that work in here noticed a big difference this winter as far as the drafts and everything. So to install the heat pump, it's going to do more than make this building comfortable. It's going to give the existing heating system a chance to rest, because the heat pump is basically gonna take over the load for the heating,
For the majority
Also.
of the time. Yeah.
for the majority of the time. Exactly. So, I mean, ideally, if it were me, I'd wanna do both at the same time, and then you're done with it.
So do both the pumps and,
And decide which way you wanna go with your new boiler.
okay,
And the other thing to remember is now that we've tightened up the shell, we may very well have to be able to reduce the size of the boiler.
right.
And the other thing, I'm talking about the boiler more than the heat pumps, but there's one aspect of the existing boiler that really is a scary situation in my opinion, and that's the fact that the exhaust pipe runs 17 feet to the chimney, and that creates all kinds of problems as far as inefficiency of the unit itself.
Yeah, I think that boiler, the efficiency of that boiler's been gone for a few years now. so-
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I think even when it was brand new, if you expect it to, a 17-foot run before it exhausts the air, that really
Yeah.
cuts into the
That's a
efficiency of the
problem.
unit,
The
Yeah,
chimney's online, isn't
and it's online. So it's got a few
It's
strikes
online.
against it.
it?
Yeah,
okay. Okay,
In this space, how many heat pumps would go in here?
One for each room.
Okay,
On the other side, equally distributed on the other side of this petition.
okay.
and so because it's a heat pump, during the summer, they can also be used as cooling.
Absolutely, and I'd be totally happy with it too. Guaranteed.
Okay.
Could you, wait, I know these are all wall mounted ones, units you were thinking of? For the heat pumps or
The
the?
interior?
Yeah,
Yes.
Walnut.
because just wondering if we do we run into a problem with the Historical Society, they do make 4 mounted ones now that could go right down to the basement. And then you wouldn't have to go exterior, right?
No, we would have to,
You still have
as
to go.
far, yeah, because the heat pump requires access to air. It needs air, and it's not building air, it needs outside air.
Okay.
so
So,
we still gonna enter the building somewhere from outside.
correct.
But I guess the question whether or not, because we have to have a line that's going from each one of the units straight down to the compressor outside,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
Okay, even if we had like one that went through the floor, could there be a way, that just thinking if we're
Right.
justifying it to the historical society, can we have
Individual
one way
lines
in?
for each head.
Okay, and there's no way to
All
like
back
make
to the
it,
compressor.
like one entry point into the building,
Well, it will be, but it'll be
ginormous.
that big
Yeah,
around.
they have cut plastic covers, you would only see one. There'd be
Right.
3 individual line sets, but you'd only see one cover.
Right, like here, there'd be
Okay.
one for each of the 3 rooms. Over there, you'd have another one on that side of the building.
Right,
And you would see one cover.
Correct, yeah, because you would come in here and penetrate the wall and then go
and the
interior.
lines would be interior for that part, okay, that was what I was trying to figure out, if there's any way.
The compressor is an outdoors,
Outdoor
outside
unit, Yes,
unit.
yes.
The interior ones will probably be up in the corners, the ceiling, they do make floor mounted ones.
Right.
but You have so much furniture
Right.
inside that
Right,
it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, they're far more effective at distributing air when they're up high.
yeah.
Yeah,
Makes
I'm just
sense.
trying to, because I know like in our house when we were thinking about it, going through the basement was one way to make it so we didn't have to do craziness of putting the unit like on 2 units on either side of the house. You
Yeah.
have one unit that kind of can stretch to the others.
Okay.
Well, we were sensitive to the aesthetics of this, and
Right.
that's why we went with 1 unit split in 3
Yeah,
into 3.
right.
Okay.
I put them in 2 years ago and run that pipe right beside my gutter downspouts. So it looks like I have 2 gutter downspouts. Works.
Well, in a sense you do, because there's also a drain line.
Yeah,
that's
and
running through
it
there.
ties right into the downspout, which works perfect, so.
Yeah.
There's gotta be other towns that have done this, that have historical buildings, that they've done some kind of upgrade. heating system like this.
I mean,
I think all we need to do is check, because I think that the elevator money was a period of years. I didn't think it was
Okay.
Okay, so it wasn't like it made it,
like
Okay.
All
forever.
time that we can't.
I mean, it
yeah.
bailed us out with AT&T, but I don't think it was forever, so we can.
who do we contact in the Preservation Trust?
Yeah, I can find out who to contact up there
Okay.
now.
I mean, for the first floor, we could bring those, instead of running those up the outside of the wall, we could bring them up in the corner and into the hedge, right?
Yeah, you
So
could,
so your piping would be, other than the exit out to your compressor, the piping could be inside.
That's what I was trying to see. If there's
Yeah.
a way to do it, so
Right.
there's only, the only
So
outside.
you could bring it
thing
up tight in the corner.
So
Yeah,
the only
you know,
thing you would see is the cover? You wouldn't
Or,
see,
or no, the only thing you would see would be the entry point.
The
for
entry
point.
You'd be
to the-
compressor. and
everything
entry.
else could be interior.
Yes, that was what I was trying to think
Yeah.
of, versus, because that might be easier ask for the historical
Yes.
preservation versus an actual covered piece of plastic that goes up the side of the building.
Well, there's
that's
one entry
doable.
point.
That's
Yeah.
definitely doable.
Okay,
Instead of
On
going,
the first floor.
you go in and go up interior.
okay.
Just keep that going.
Yeah, and Sandy's gonna find out who to contact from Preservation Trust.
Yeah, well, the bid package is all set, we would just have to change dates if you get the okay.
Okay,
We'll go from there.
So we'll revisit this next meeting?
yes. So we'll revisit this next meeting, okay?
Or whenever you get an answer.
Right, exactly.
I'm not going anywhere.
Ken, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
And- Yes, okay.
Good job.
I still don't see.
Ken?
Okay,
Somebody else walked in.
No, was
It was Lucy.
yeah,
I couldn't see who I saw somebody said Erika.
okay. So now we're meeting with, we'll move on to item 10. Do we have all our municipal chairs, conservation, DRB, energy and planning? Looks like we have everybody. Yep. Excellent. Okay. Great. So welcome. Thank you for coming this evening. We wanted you here because we'd like to discuss roles, budgets, plans for next year. I think we'll start with energy. The budget is 500. We have the Energy Committee's mission statement here.
I'm on the Energy Committee, but Ken was the guy.
Oh,
So I'll help as I can.
so, we have your, mission statement here. Is there anything the select board wants to say about that? And we just want to let the Energy Committee know that the budget is $500.
That's what it was. It's always been, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Trying to think of ways to spend it.
something that we haven't brought it up since we first did it when we had the lots of turnover at rec, but we had the idea of each of our committees signing the mission statement when they're part of
Yes.
it. Is that something that we want to start with the other committees?
Because we do that with rec.
Yes.
So I think we'd like to make that uniform.
So starting forward, maybe then anybody new that gets appointed or gets, so that we don't have to backtrack it.
Right.
Well, it'll be hard for everybody on it to sign it.
For sure, yeah.
To make sure everybody on it knows, agrees. I'm sure they all do, but you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, does everybody know about with the mission statements? So when we were having some issues with the rec committee, having people going off because they weren't sure about what was involved in it, or we weren't communicating that correctly, we had them, anybody who started new, sign a mission statement saying, this is all the things that you can do as a person on the rec committee, and this is your purpose. And knowing and signing that to say, I know that this is what's going forward.
Right, and I understand, and I agree with what this statement presents,
Yeah, exactly.
basically.
So we were hoping that then transferring that over to the other committee so that we weren't just singling out rec for
Exactly.
that.
'Cause
And
I
just
think
making
it's-
sure that we're all sure.
I think it's good for everybody to understand what the purpose of
Yeah,
your committee is and the parameters of it all. I think it just helps keep everything clear and transparent.
Yeah.
So what does the board think? Do we,
Well, it would be kind of, the committees, I mean, it's up to the
yes,
committees if they feel comfortable
yes,
with the members of the existing committee signing that. It's either,
right.
if the majority of the people aren't comfortable with signing it,
We did make Rep do that.
Right,
right,
That was all
or we,
For them, at least.
or
They
we,
were all already members, and then to stay on it, they had to sign it.
Right. True. True.
So it's only fair that every committee has to follow that same.
right,
procedure,
yeah.
yes, okay. So do we need a motion for this?
I think we might, just because we're ordering, or not ordering, but we're requesting that this be fulfilled by the different committees.
Who outlines that? Because I assume that whatever you're talking about for the Recreation Committee is not the same for the Planning Commission or
Oh,
the
right.
DRB. So who develops this mission statement?
They're already
Is it
existing.
more of like a
for-
role,
They've been existing for each one of them.
and we just would need to sign it?
Unless you'd have to come to us to change it, because that would have to be.
Where does this stuff exist?
That's a good question. I don't know
And that's
for.
part of why having everybody do it, so every committee knows what theirs is.
So we can know
They're
that you
actually on each page of the website, like conservation's mission statements on theirs, Rec's on theirs, energy's on theirs. And conservation, you wrote your own, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think every.
Right, because you wrote it with the
And I think energy did as well, right?
Rec wrote their own.
Yes,
Well, I think
With
Kathy,
Kathy was
yeah.
part of it, but.
right.
right,
So basically, you want the committees to write their mission statement, you approve it, and then they sign it.
Or if there's already a mission statement
exactly.
existing and that you need to change it because you think that doesn't fulfill it, then do that before. signing.
Yes.
Then what Rec has its mission statement, then
A
signature lines on the bottom of it.
I don't think there's any problem from the planning commission.
It's one of those, if this is the time to look at it, and it'll make you aware that maybe it is not appropriate at this time if nobody's willing to sign it.
Like, so
I think, yeah, it could be altered now.
Yes.
right.
Right.
Um,
And if you, yes, so if you find that your mission statement isn't serving your needs, it can be rewritten.
Right, and then we would have to approve it just to make sure that
Right.
we still have the good.
And do you have a timeline?
What's that? Say that again?
I'm sorry, do you
Timeline.
have a timeline?
We do not have a timeline. Do we want to establish
We should
that?
probably establish one so that way we know it gets done by a certain time.
Right.
So,
Do we want to have it just be by the beginning of the new fiscal year? Because that gives enough time, especially
yeah, that would be,
when people don't
well, I was thinking
meet
like,
us.
3
frequently.
months, that gives you a month to meet,
Yes.
look it over, a month to
Right.
do
Have a new
and that would
fiscal
work right at the same time.
So
Yeah.
do we need a motion for that? Or,
I'll make a motion for it so that, I make a motion that we ask each of the different committees in town to, look over their mission statements as they stand right now, and if they need to change them, propose those changes to us, and then have each member of that committee sign the mission statement, acknowledging that they understand it by June 30th.
Do you need to modify that since Rec already did
hold
that?
on,
You
I
said
think we
all.
need, I think we need a second first before we can discuss.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
So we have a second?
Second.
Okay, great. So now we can discuss.
No,
It's
yeah,
okay.
do we need to modify it because Rec has already done it?
Because you stated all of them and all, I just didn't know if that, since Rec already did that, if we're saying all, it makes it sound like we can do it again.
And Rec has
And
been
we just
doing
did
that
it.
every time that somebody new has come
Oh,
on.
they've all signed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah, so then,
I just don't want them to think that they need to.
so modifying it being that recreation was the first person to do, first set to do it, so we
All
don't need that.
remaining.
All remaining, yes.
My
Got it.
only other question
Yeah.
is, do we have any of these committees that don't have a mission statement right now?
Well, I mean, I don't think planning and DRB, because they're constitutionally, or statutorily,
That's,
So then is that,
So do we not
Consider
include
that, or is
them
it-
because of that reason? Okay.
the others, yeah, there's.
okay, so,
Yeah, we're committed by statutes.
Right.
okay, so I can modify it then.
Okay.
Let me modify it then, Sandy, saying that it's for all remaining town-developed committees, we would like them to, review their mission statements as they stand now, propose any changes to us, and then have them signed by June 30th, the end of the fiscal year.
I'll second.
Okay.
Is it a statutory requirement to have a mission statement?
No, we required the rec committee
Yes.
Yeah,
to do that because of their change, their rollover in.
I see.
So now we're just saying, well, not fair for one, we should do it for all, just,
Right.
So this is originated here.
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
And you never know, the next committee might have a lot of turnover either. So it's a good practice to be preemptive for if that is to occur, because you never know what happens.
Exactly. So we have a vote. All those in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Okay. So our motion passes. Okay. So now going to conservation. Conservation, you have a budget of $2,500. And your mission statement is short and sweet. Protect Wallingford's land, water, air, and biodiversity. Okay. For planning,
Before you go on, just make sure they don't have any issues or you guys
any
are.
issues?
Or if there are things you're planning that you want to let us know about
Yes.
for the
Yeah.
upcoming year.
Well, the Lake Elfin, the erosion grant.
Right. Okay.
That'll be coming out in June.
That'll be
start
coming out in
Okay,
applying.
so they're coming out in June.
Yeah.
So we'll keep that in the radar. Okay. Anything else?
Is that all that you have from that one little paragraph is the entire?
Because you folks had, you had
There's a
a
longer-
mission statement and you had the, but you also
Vision?
had the vision.
Yeah.
Which I,
Vision, okay.
Oh,
So
so that's,
Yeah, that's
so
what I'm
that's,
thinking of. Because it's.
so your mission statement,
This is your, this, Tom said this was the mission statement, those were kind of how you're going to.
Right.
Parameters.
right,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
that's like the explanation
Right.
towards a nice, short and sweet mission statement.
but for requiring what we're talking about,
That would have to be.
Yes.
vision would have to be on there as long as the mission statement, just because you have that separate.
So let us review that at Monday's meeting and sign off on it or propose any changes that need to be made if we think there are any, there may not.
Yeah.
We have until June, we might be walking all over.
Okay, so it might not be
We're having a
Monday.
walking, working meeting on
Yeah.
Monday.
And,
You folks just revamped it last year, so it should be, yeah.
you might not really have to do anything to it, so.
But if you want it,
Answers.
if you don't like it separated between mission and then vision,
I think.
Just because I don't think anybody else is doing vision.
Right,
well, if you just got the word vision, eliminate that and then just kind of figure out a way to just incorporate it would be the same thing.
I have no
Yeah.
problem with
That's what you guys can do at your meeting.
Yes.
As we walk.
Send it into GPT and it'll get it all ready for you. And I do it all the time, it's great.
and.
Do you have any plans at Stone Meadow for the summer, other than obviously all your maintenance upkeep that you do? Anything new with the pollinator garden, or?
General maintenance, the bees, we've had issues with the bees over the winter.
Okay.
We're gonna come together about that on Monday,
Right.
figure out what directions we need to go there. I think we've lost all of our bees.
Did they vacate or die?
Died.
They died.
Do we know why yet? Do we have so we haven't ascertained as to why, but we're gonna look into that and
Okay.
look at replacing them, hopefully.
Okay,
Okay.
We have plenty of honey though.
well, that's great,
That's good.
yeah. Okay, thank you, conservation. Just to make sure with energy, is there any, I know that, where you left. Was there anything other than what we've discussed tonight with energy that,
Well, I wasn't here earlier, I don't know if you discussed the boiler replacement in depth,
Yeah,
yeah,
and are you ready to go with propane and?
it sounds like it's the best way to go, but
Yeah.
it's the most efficient way to go.
yeah,
But now the question is, where can we place the tanks?
right.
So we need to get a surveyor to verify this.
either, and I know he said to get a, you know, an engineer or whatever to look at the placement or whoever. Can we look at a propane company? Cause I know they came down, cause I propose I'm switching my stove to propane. And they came down told me where I can put my tanks, told me how big my tanks need to be, told me what I need to do to make that happen.
Yeah, they did that for me too.
I'm wondering if that may be the easiest way to do this.
We recommended, and then you asked us to get 3 proposals from engineers. And we recommended that because you have other systems involved here with the heat pumps.
Right.
You know, what's gonna happen upstairs, to take a look at that, and take a look at the insulation of this building and give us a good assessment. I really think that's a prudent way to go. It's $4,000, I think, and they would put it out to bid. They would design the system.
For an engineer?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
There's a local firm in Rutland, Engineering Services of Vermont, that we've known for years.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you're not dealing with competitive suppliers and things, and you can get tied into, if they put their tanks in, then they own them, you can't switch companies.
Yeah, but some companies won't fill somebody else, or will they? I don't know how that, I
I don't think so.
don't know how that works, so, yeah.
Unless we bought the tanks themselves and they were fully owned by us, then they might.
But you'd still have to have them inspected every time you changed.
For sure, yeah.
Could I say something? Ralph, I heard you say that the chimney is online.
Yeah.
I know one of the reasons we didn't replace our like 80-year-old furnace at our farm was with a little energy efficient one, is for a horrible amount of money, like $30,000. We would have had to line our chimney for the higher efficiency.
Or if you go with propane, the flue exhaust, you can run a single line pipe all the way up.
Right outside.
Yeah.
Or direct back, you don't even
You
need
don't
a
have to
chimney.
use the chimney.
You don't have to go up the chimney.
Yeah, but you can, but it can be just a single line, I mean, they're running the single line
PVC
PVC.
pipe that right up the middle of the
Right,
chimney.
right straight up,
Yeah.
so that's the advantage between oil and propane now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we could even get what the engineer's schedule is if we wanted to hire them, but,
So the question would be is what are we gonna do for funding to hire them?
Right.
What have we got out
Yeah.
there?
Funding for engineering. Okay.
Well, that goes back to the idea of like, when we're thinking about the heat pump and propane, are we doing that under the, the ARPA application that we originally
Think
had?
yes.
for that? Okay,
Okay.
because then we have the money there.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But I guess that also, if it's 4,000 for, just for the assessment, can we find 2
No,
other
that's-
firms?
no, it's an assessment, it's putting it out to bid, doing whatever drawings, specification on how the system's gonna work and
Right.
what's produced. It's a very technical thing.
No, I'm not saying that the $4,000 is just,
Right.
is too much money. I'm more about if it's 4,000, it's over the $1,200 budget we have, that we have to have it go out to multiple people to.
Exactly.
Well, we had 2 other bids, they were at $10,000 and $12,000, so this was a pretty good.
Okay, so I forgot that we already had the bids for
Yes.
Yeah.
for the actual engineering. Okay.
Okay.
So do we need
Yeah,
a motion to,
I think we probably do.
Can I ask a question?
Can we, maybe, I mean, this has been a while, maybe, would you feel comfortable going back and just asking him if the price
Yeah.
still stands?
See if they have,
Yeah, but
they
let's do
can
that
fit it in
first.
their schedule
That
and,
sounds good. So further discussion will happen later.
all right, I'll check it out and see where they stand.
And maybe we can revisit this May 6th too.
A question,
Yeah,
yes.
Not so much a question, just a statement.
thank you.
Any engineer that you would hire would have to understand that it's a historic building, that they would have to work within those confined parameters.
Right,
You know,
Yeah.
they could say, let's get heat pumps outside, and you say, well, yeah.
right,
Right.
right.
Well,
So just
sure.
put that out to, you know, the,
Yeah, because they're gonna have to reach out to
Exactly.
the, to the Historical Society or Preservation
Right.
to determine what they can and can't do to the
Yeah.
building.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of gonna be part of their,
Sure.
And we'll discuss this more further. Yeah,
verify that in 2 weeks.
at the
we'll-
next meeting. Yeah. Okay,
Do you have a
Baby steps.
surveyor that
Yes.
I can contact?
Okay, well,
The
thank you
It's a
very
big
much.
project, but
Smeltzenbach, do they
Okay,
send
so-
a surveyor yet?
2 years.
Now if you could just get the hornets and wasp out of the building.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
what happens when you get it so tight now. See you later.
Okay, so now on to Planning Commission and to DRB Board.
Thank you.
So you don't have a budget, but you do have budget lines 5116 and 5117. They have $750 each for planning and zoning notices as well as ads, warnings, respectively. So, well, I know you're on the agenda next. Are there any things coming up that we need to?
Well, I'm planning, except of course what's coming up.
Exactly.
Great, you do you remind, just a reminder that you, at the last meeting, wanted DRB to look at their rules of procedure.
That's right,
And then
yes.
the town's rules of procedure and see where they could merge them for alternates.
Exactly. So we would like, with that issue that came up with the alternates, to look at what the town has for our policies and procedures and see if there's a way to merge our policy with the DRB policy.
Can you remind me what the policies of the town?
Well, we have the policies and procedures. If you don't have a copy,
I sent Darren an
You
email
said
that I
I
sent
have-
after the last meeting.
I have the one though that is ours, I didn't see the town's one.
Yeah.
okay.
Am I mistaken, or didn't the law say all boards had to have that same,
Yes, well,
Well,
it's up to you. I mean,
right.
all do.
the way I read it, it said everybody's gotta have it.
Well, VLCT recommends rules of procedures.
Yes.
And you folks adopt them after town meeting.
Yeah.
But I just think that, we talked about this last meeting, DRBs,
Yes.
they just have very different than rec and energy, they have different requirements.
Right. So that, we would just like for the DRB to look at the town policies and procedures and see if there's any way to merge. Because it might actually be helpful.
And really just for like the alternate stuff, making it an addendum on our already existing stuff.
Yeah.
I see, Sandy.
Because it's like, it's phrased slightly
Yeah, they're
differently
both on
than what
there.
ours is with
I
the.
just pulled it up, I was gonna email it to you again, so.
Nope, I found it.
Yeah, so you got it.
So that's what we were talking about at the last meeting. And since you're here this evening,
Sure. I don't have an answer for you, but.
That's
except-
fine.
Except that we will, look at it at our next meeting, which
Okay.
will be in, May.
okay,
And part of that was, whatever language you needed to address.
exactly,
alternates.
exactly,
Sure.
okay?
Yeah, and with regard to budget, that's really not something that DRB is, that should go to zoning and folk, because that's not, we don't do any of the budgeting. We just show up and work.
Okay.
Yeah, and part of the public notices and the expenses from that, if a person has a public hearing, they pay a fee, and that fee actually covers
Notice.
the notices and the certified, well, most of the certified mailing. Depends on how many abutting properties there are and the cost of mailing. But 99% of the time it covers everything.
Okay. Thank you.
Was that it?
Yes, that is it.
Well, we have to.
What else? What I forgot?
The new zoning.
Oh,
At
so
some
that's
point in time,
not,
we have to-
that's not DRB.
That's not the,
No.
that's me.
That's you.
So, yes, so
Oh,
thank you
you're
so
here,
much.
Oh.
Yes.
No, you.
Okay, great. I'm just gonna check this off. Wonderful, we are on to Revised zoning.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, before the town meeting, you all got copies of it. Rob, I assume you got a copy of it
Yeah,
to review. Nothing's changed. And as you stated in the last time the planning commission came before you, wait, so we did. And our planning commission meeting for April is scheduled on the 23rd, based on what you all decide now. The thing to keep remembering is you have to have a public hearing on it yourselves. And then you decide what, okay, I'm sorry, I just got out of the bed. Okay. The select board has to vote one way or the other to approve acceptance. In other words, all we're asking is that for a vote to accept what you see in front of you. Doesn't mean that you're approving it or not, you're just approving it to accept, to take it to public hearing on your behalf. And in the meantime, any type of graphical errors and small changes can still be made. So, and I'm sure no matter how many times I read it, there are typos in there. Then the procedure, you have your public hearing, of course, and depending on what the public hearing is, you decide to accept it or not, and then it goes to the voters since we have the Australian ballot here.
Right.
Okay. So we're not asking you to accept it and sign it, we're just asking to accept it.
To acceptance
To look
to
at it,
take
yes.
to a public hearing.
Correct. More or less, yes. And the reason why we're kind of pushing this, besides the fact it's taking us as long as it has, is because the town plan is coming up for renewal in June of 2026, which means we need to start looking at that also. And that is the RRPC telling us you need to start looking at it. In fact, Nick of the RRPC has agreed to come to the 23rd meeting and address us. You know, my understanding is when we did our town plan the last time, we were able to secure a grant, a municipality grant, to basically help us write the town plan. The planner was our project manager. She actually made sure that everything was checked off. We did everything right. My understanding is, and I could be wrong, but I don't think so, is no grants.
No.
Which means the planning commission is going to have to do it with guidance, some guidance from the RRPC, but not as much as we had before. So we'd like to start that as quickly as possible. So that's
do you think the town plan needs change?
Oh, according to what the RRPC says, the state has changed the requirements, yes.
The state is telling us how to do it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of people say we don't need a town plan, we can tell the state off. Not really. It would be nice, but no, no.
Well, you can readopt.
We can readopt, according to what I was told. We can readopt certain things, but there are other things that are needed according to the state. And remember, we have a historical village designation, which relies on the fact that we have a town plan. So if we don't have a town plan, we're going to lose the historic designation.
Do we have a historic designation?
Yes. And by the way, that also, I believe, runs out on in 2026. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's go.
So there's a lot of things coming, and that's why we'd like to get this off the plate so we can turn around to the other.
If they vote to accept it for a public hearing, what's the time frame for a public hearing? Is there for 30 days, 45 days?
I will check that to be absolutely 100% sure, because I thought it was 45 and somebody said no, it was 30. And
45 sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, so.
But I will check it, and you can have it at a regular meeting.
Okay.
You could do like a half an hour before.
Like do the half an hour before? Okay.
But it does have to be publicly notified through the Rutland Herald, posted, and so on and so forth.
Do we want to know the time frame before we approve to accept?
What do you mean the time frame?
So do we want to know if, once we make, if we don't know if we have 30 days or 45 days evening?
Can't you
I
figure
don't know,
that out?
does it matter?
I don't
She's
know.
gotta check the, she's gotta
I'll check.
check the state statute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
you
actually
figure out
Kathy, you
if
can
it's
vote to
45 or
accept it, you
30
don't
days,
have 45 days to have the hearing.
Oh,
It's 45 days public notice. So
Okay,
you
Oh.
can vote to accept it tonight,
okay.
and if, I will get back to you.
Like
obviously.
say you think it's 45, but it turns out to be 30.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
You set the hearing.
This is just to get the public notice out about
Yes,
a
ma'am.
hearing coming up.
You have
We
to
can
give the
set
public
it for
45
whatever
days.
date we
Yes, ma'am.
want.
Yeah, 30, you have to give the public 30 or 45 days.
Right.
That we're gonna have this public hearing.
So we could
Right.
decide when the meeting's gonna be at the next meeting.
Correct.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
and then we'll know,
If we
but
gave more notice than needed, that's not.
Yes.
Oh, no, yeah, that's right.
You could plan on just.
Yes, we can plan for
Exactly.
45, and if we find out it's 30, we're covered.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
right.
But if you choose not to set the date tonight, that's perfectly acceptable.
But either way, we
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think in order to do this, we need a motion.
Yes. definitely.
So do we have a motion?
I move we accept the revised planning ordinance.
That we approve to accept to take to a public hearing?
Well, yeah,
well, we're just accepting it, so.
yeah.
So,
Right,
We know what we have to do.
okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a
I'll
second?
second it.
Okay. Discussion?
Nope.
Nope, okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I think we should pick a date tonight, 45 days out. Just because. And it could be 60 days out.
It would be no more than 45
Well, I'm just,
by law,
yeah.
if you will.
Well,
Well,
this is, so just to be clear, we're not picking the public hearing
Yes.
date, we are picking the
Yeah,
public
we picked the public hearing date 45 days in advance.
Well, we have to notify about a public hearing in 45 days, but the hearing itself does not have to meet that time frame.
The hearing can be 60 days out, it
Exactly.
can be
Yes.
90 days out.
We could do June 3rd.
Yep, June 3rd would
June
do.
3rd, that's regular select board.
Yep.
And I will
Just do it
check
as-
the statutes to be on the safe side. I'm sorry, I
The
didn't
only
have time to do it today.
I think 45 days from the last time we did it sounded
The
familiar.
only thing that I would
45
ask
is the
is,
Yeah,
would it have to be June 3rd?
Well, if you wanted to coordinate it with a select board meeting.
It's just
Could be
that's,
June 10th,
it's Adam's birthday,
huh?
June 10th is not a select board meeting.
right?
June 17th?
do, yeah.
Would June 17th be okay with everybody?
15th. No, correct.
17th.
June 17th.
17th.
It's fine with me.
Is the public hearing not more than, and then not,
Yeah.
is there a minimum and maximum in the public hearing? Not earlier than this date, nor later than that date?
My understanding is no.
Okay.
Yeah, the board voted to accept it, which actually could mean I gave it to you tonight and you haven't had time to read it, and you say, okay, we're gonna accept it. So,
Okay.
you're fine on that.
Yeah.
And you're setting the date, and from, basically, as I said, we can change typographical errors in it.
Right.
But that's about all that can be changed at the moment.
Right.
Nothing major, minor changes, yes, nothing major.
Because it's gonna be
Yes.
presented to the public, and that's when changes will
Right.
occur.
And of course, as I've stated to you before, and I'll state it again, the line numbers going down the side, and a lot of people said, well, I don't want the line numbers. They come out of the final edition. It's just so much easier for someone to say line 195 on
Yeah.
page 20.
I don't have any issues with that at all.
Thank you.
So, June 17th, is that what you want to do?
That's 6.
Yeah,
Hours
it
long.
would be, it would be at 6.
Well, I think it's long enough. We'll see what the public has to say. We think it is. But I will notify the planning commission we're meeting on the 23rd, and we'll plan to be there.
Okay, so meeting
Yeah, because it's all you winning, so.
It's June 17th.
We're there for support.
And I do appreciate moving the meeting, thank you.
Oh. Very important.
I think we're all set.
Super.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Okay.
And now I'll go answer my mother's phone call.
Yes. I didn't send it.
I did.
So,
Last but not least.
welcome. Requesting a letter of support for a spark grant.
That's me. That's me. Well, here I am again. Last time I was here, it was back in the fall when we gave Green Mountain neighbors a chance to use the town hall for some meetings. And since that time, this little nonprofit has grown by leaps and bounds, and we're now at 40 members. Mr. Jankus, would you like one? All right. And we have 40 members and 40 volunteers, and for Rob's benefit, Green Mountain Neighbors is an organization based on the village-to-village model, where there's about 300 of these around the United States, that tries to encourage seniors to provide services to seniors so that they'll stay in their homes, be connected to community, and get some basic services. We're providing non-medical services, and just last month was our first month of operations as far as delivering services. And we do simple things. We do wellness calls, check in on folks, we bring them to appointments, and we do educational events. So far, we've done 7 educational events, and we're going to continue that. We're having presentations by master gardeners. If you have nothing else to do, come to one of our bingo afternoons. Very exciting. But we're at the point now where we want to keep expanding the membership. And we've applied to the Vermont Community Foundation for a Spark grant. And this asks that they provide us with funds that we could do luncheons in the 3 towns that make up Green Mountains, Wallingford, Shrewsbury, and Mount Holly. And we'll have people come to the luncheons, we'll talk about what we do at Green Mountain, and hopefully get new members and trying to expand our base. The other thing that we're asking the foundation for is scholarship money, because there's people out there that would like to be members, but for various reasons don't have the funds for the annual membership. So, as part of the grant application, they asked for letters of support from the towns that we serve. Mount Holly, their select board has enthusiastically backed them. Shrewsbury's in process of getting theirs, and now I'm turning to Wallingford, asking for a letter of support. And I provided Sandy a letter, and you still have it, a sample letter, and you're welcome to tailor to whatever way you want. If you approve it and deliver it to us by email and stuff, then we can send it on to the foundation. And hopefully they'll kindly support our efforts. So.
We just got a call, today, I got a call today looking for
did you?
somebody that, I gave him the phone number to make a ride to a doctor's appointment.
Right.
So.
And we're going to be providing more services. We're just like baby steps right now. So hopefully a year from now, we'll have more volunteers and more members and be able to do more things.
So I'm thinking we would probably need a motion for this, or can we do this
By
consensus?
consensus, yeah.
So by consensus, do you want to authorize me to sign a letter of support?
Yeah.
Do I have to abstain?
I support it, so you can abstain.
Okay. Thanks for your help. You're very welcome.
Great, and we did get the Spark grant really early on when Wallingford Day was first started organized.
Wow.
There were great people who worked with it, so.
And look what happened with Wallingford Day.
Yeah.
So, thank you for doing this.
Oh, sure.
Really
Yeah.
appreciate it. This is a great
My pleasure.
nonprofit.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I'll send it to you. And I'll
Okay.
sign it after the meeting, I'll send it to you.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Goodbye, Mr. Jenkins. Goodbye.
Okay. So the town hall key list. Our town security policy requires an annual review of the town hall key list. So let's review that right now.
fee list.
We set these all up, everybody has their own codes now, right?
No, I think they still have keys, right?
Yeah, I mean, we just use the, you know, Jill and I use the codes to get in the front door. We still have the keys because they're unlocked on the side.
Okay.
But everybody else, like the dance people,
Right.
rec,
But people on this list, they still have keys?
yes, these people also have keys.
Should we round them up except for like Jill? She would, because nobody on this list would needed it to access anything, right?
Well, I mean, the key still unlocks the tap terrace door. Say something happened with the store and the lock or whatever and they couldn't get in, the key would still unlock. The same key that unlocked this door unlocks the tap terrace door, so.
And these are people who already have keys.
They've all had them for a number of years.
So, the question is, do we approve this list?
And X's just mean that they have a key, we don't know what number it is?
Yeah, some of them didn't have numbers on them. These are all pretty old keys.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if we ever have to approve somebody new, this is all the same as what we had before, then I think we should push the codes and have
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. Nobody.
Yeah, somebody other than on this list
Right.
uses the code.
Right. But somehow phasing out the keys so that we don't have them hanging around.
Yeah.
Well, we still need, we
For
still got that door out back.
For that door, but for not everybody needs that key. Really, it's only
Right.
Jill, Sandy, and what you call it, and
Right.
Julie. Really, are
Well, the
ones
fire
that-
chief, the fire department.
Those, yes.
Yeah.
The emergency services and normal staff. Right.
Right.
Okay.
So I guess
And we could just do that by consensus, right? Okay. I think it's approved. Okay. Okay.
It's really disconcerting. I just go next.
Good thing you have more room.
So we're on
Yes,
to
yes.
small project hires. At the December 18th, 2023 meeting, we agreed to the following. The transfer station substitute pay rate, which is at $14.06. And the question is,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
he used to do a lot of odd jobs for the town. If he's willing, do we want to hire Bruce at the transfer station rate?
I don't see why not.
Exactly. So, yes.
Okay, good.
Somebody we know.
There you go.
Very capable.
Yeah, exactly. So like.
And it looks like in the town hall bathroom,
Right.
it's not a bulb replacement, though it's not working. A ballast needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
So Sandy's gonna contact Jeff Duchesne for a price.
Right. And depending on what it is, if it's
Right.
I'm hoping he'll get here sooner rather than later, because for the concert the other night, I put this lamp in the
And then,
bathroom.
okay.
What's a
So
nice ambiance
depending-
at least?
Yeah, I did.
Depending on the cost, if need be, Sandy can get a comparison price, from Rob Stubbins.
Right.
Okay. Moving on. For Wallingford Summer Recreation Program rates, Director Lori Randy asked about raising the non-resident weekly rate for the 5-week summer. The rates now are 80 per week for residents and 85 per week for non-residents. She thinks that the non-resident rates should be increased, as Wallingford already pays taxes to run the program, so the resident rate should stay the same. similar programs. She didn't recommend a new rate per se, but she said that similar programs in other towns average around 120 per week. So what would we like to do?
It's just because they pay taxes, not because, lots of people are taking advantage of it, so there's,
I think enrollment hasn't been a problem, has it? No, enrollment has not been a problem.
yeah.
I don't think, yeah. I don't want to price somebody out, especially if it's a jump from 85 to 120.
Seems
That's,
like too much of a jump.
yeah.
So
It
what
feels,
would you
yeah.
suggest instead?
I could see 90 or 95. That would be, yeah, because that's still, you can push it if you need to, and then,
So-
but it's still a significant difference between town pay versus a non-resident. pay.
Right, if you went up, say to, 95, that would give more of a,
Right, and it would still make us competitive in terms of getting non-residents out in it.
right? Yeah.
You're looking at.
Looking at the difference between a resident and non-resident in another town.
And I also wonder about that's a lot of work to do because especially they might have services that we don't for our camp.
I mean, if you're looking at Rutland, I think there's a significant difference between resident and non-resident for Rutland.
Because I know when I pay for stuff, it doesn't seem like it's that much of a difference as a non-resident.
I
mean, no, I
Yeah.
mean, from a difference from a resident to a non-resident, not
Yeah.
that theirs
Yeah.
isn't significantly more cost.
But
Or the-
Yeah, from the
I mean,
difference between
the
the
span
two.
between the two.
But I think $10 to $15
Sufficient, yeah.
isn't a huge
No.
difference, but
Not
enough.
Like a 40,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
yeah.
Are you looking that up? there?
Not gonna be a windfall,
Trying to-
really.
They have a new
No, it's not going to be a
website.
windfall, but it's just
No. So does the rest of the
There's
board?
one thing to know, they do charge differently per week.
probably because they have different
Because of their
trips.
field trips.
Yeah.
Right,
It's different now,
right. Well, that's good to know.
which I know we kind of discussed that.
Yes, we did.
And let's see, so for this camp, it's $22 different.
Okay.
Which town are you looking at?
Rutland Rec, which is not a really comparable camp by far, but
What are their rates?
much higher.
Yeah,
But it's a very different type of camp.
it is.
I just know from, my children do a lot of Rutland Rec, that I always have paid a
Yes.
non-resident, and it's like
Yes.
normally like $15 difference.
Right, yeah. So does the board think about going with like a $15 increase over what a resident and non-resident, increasing it by $15 for non-resident and keeping the 80?
So I'll put it to 100.
It would put it to 95.
So 15 over 80.
I'll put it to,
15 over
It's at
80.
85 now.
You're 15 over the 80,
Oh,
Not over the 85.
not over the
okay.
85.
So in
okay.
comparison to the
I
the
think
resident.
that's,
Yeah.
you know, baby steps, you know, maybe
Yes.
next year we can look at.
95 for out of
Yeah,
state.
'cause if we find that we're getting a lot of non-residents at that rate, then we might say, oh, we can
So do
expand
we
the
agree
budget
on that?
specifically.
That
Do
would
we
be,
agree on that number, on the 95?
I like it.
Yeah,
and I think that is
Yes.
something to look at, is to see what is our population of who is usually in this camp. Is it
Right.
local or is it us? Down.
Right. I think that would be good too. Okay.
And if we see that it's maybe a very drastic difference, maybe we can look at the price for next year.
Exactly.
right.
That sounds very reasonable. Okay, there's no further discussion on that. We are moving on to,
Imagine.
yes, we're moving on to our application. We have a concession stand application from Imogen Birch. Her sibling, Charlie Birch, has worked there and has been a very good worker. So after looking at this, we would like to hire Imogen to work the concession stand.
Yeah, I don't. She's CPR certified and driver's license.
I
and-
just looked real quick at last year's registration, it's almost 50-50, Wallingford and out-of-towners. It's
Okay,
close. Interesting.
yeah.
Like I know, I have friends who live below Wallingford, work in Rutland, and they would drop off here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because it's,
yes. Yep,
you know,
yeah.
where they're employed is where's your children.
Yes. Yeah. So, do we need a motion for this?
Yeah, I would. if
So
you
we
want.
need a motion.
I move we hire Imogene.
Okay.
A second. You got it. You got it, Carolyn.
Carolyn's got the second.
It's not a competition.
Any
No.
discussion?
I've had enough. No.
All those in favor?
Alright.
Aye.
I have one to go.
When to go?
I'm good.
Okay, so now we are on to the Wallingford Shade Tree Preservation Commission.
Right,
And you have commission nominations.
right. So, the statute, in 2020, they redid the tree laws for the first time since 1904. So they did a lot of push on it. And, you know, tree warden is the first thing now, besides fence viewer and weigher of coal. And you have to have one, you have to publicize it, you have to let the state know. And yeah, it's a good program. But now they want, I sense that there's more energy towards doing this. You know, there was talk about applying for a grant, which I've done years and years and years and years. And it used to be $200 and a matching grant. And so, and any municipality, schools could do it too. And so my wife was getting them. Every year we plant a tree. And there was always a match. Now, last year, it went to 5,000. I was doing matches that were 2,000. And that's kind of getting steep, you know.
Right.
But now, there's no match. So, we can, I can get paid to go over to White River and bring them and put them in. You know, a day is a day is a day, you know.
Right.
Day, another day, another day. So, what the deputy tree, so the law authorizes the select board to appoint deputy tree wardens who have all of the same authority as a tree warden, and but they can also be fired at any time for no reason at all.
Right.
So just like at-will employees almost.
So I've got 6 people. Debbie and Bill Scranton, Denise Eddy, Shannon Pitlick, Jane Quigley, and myself, and one more. But I think that's plenty of people, and so this is what I'd like to see, and we would have a mission statement, and probably more than one sentence too.
It doesn't have to be long.
Well, you know, but I think there's some, and this, I would probably try to do the $5,000 grant just to see how it comes out. I think we can do, it's, three is what I did with the 2,000, but that was the match. I think we can get 4 or 5 trees maybe planted, and I've got some ideas for where, and so I think we can, if you approve this, we can warn a meeting and apply in May for the grant. And they do this every year, and they want trees planted, and it's almost a gimme. It's almost.
Great. So now, to proceed, we have a few different things. It sounds like they will head towards the mission statement. So there's that. Now, do we want a subcommittee of conservation, or do we want to create
No, we
a
want
separate
a
commission?
separate. That's what it is.
Keep it separate, okay. And then, since it's its own commission, I think, didn't we just approve the commissions to have 3-year terms?
Yeah.
So I would think we would do the same for this one.
Yeah.
What
Okay?
is it for the planning commission?
What's that?
How long is the planning commission term?
I think planning is 3, because it's not DRB.
3?
3.
Yeah. That's fine.
Alright.
Yeah.
So, conservation's 4, they're the only ones that are different, and that's a
Okay.
statutory thing, but everybody else,
Okay,
including rec, is now 3.
yes. So everyone's 3, except for conservation, which has to be 4.
Yeah, and then just a few.
That has to be 4?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
It's amazing how much more they're telling us how run.
So I think we have our information for that, okay? Moving on, we have a liquor license request. And we have, one of our additions, we have an additional liquor license request.
Market, and that's in front of you.
I think
So Stanti's and
I
then the
picked
Right,
up-
so we have Stanti's and we have the village,
Market.
Wallingford Village Market. So why don't we start with Stanti's?
I'll make the motion to accept the application.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Are there any questions?
Does the village market still have their second class? Do they apply for a new second class?
They only applied for that, they didn't do the outdoor consumption. They only just applied for the second class.
Well, because wasn't the other one was,
Whatever I gave you, put in front of me, that's the only one they applied for. Second class.
yeah, because I thought I just saw a first class for them,
And they-
which is just on, where is that?
Julie's gonna revise one. I emailed you one and then today she
Yeah,
revised.
so the Wallingford Village Market is first class.
Yeah, first class.
Which means it's only for consumption on premises versus actually selling it for off
Right.
premises.
Right.
Which, being a market, I feel like she might want to do both.
She might have more coming. I think she just started with one. so we can
Because
get-
she had applied for a second class last year.
Yeah, and she
Right.
didn't, something came up with the state and she didn't get it. I
Okay.
thought. But, yeah, so she's just applying for this one now, but we also expect her to have an outdoor consumption one as well.
For the patio. Okay.
So this is for one within the market.
This is just for drinking inside the market.
And then we have Stanti's.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. You want a motion for both?
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
make the motion to accept both.
Seconded.
okay. So not hearing any discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Alright.
Aye. So moved. Okay. Then we are up to select board comments and concerns. Anyone have anything? Hearing that there's none other for other business. The, ARPA award. Do I need to say that?
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay. 583,342, has been closed out. Final fair report was made on April 9th with the assistance of BLCT attorney, Katie Buckley. The closeout means we are done with this federal award, but the town can still use the asset, fund, established by voters at town meeting from the ARPA balance to pursue the remaining ARPA projects. Yay. Enclosed is the grant application submitted by the Energy Committee.
So they were already turned down.
Right, and they were turned down. So that unfortunately didn't go through.
Hey, did we forget something?
What?
The emergency evacuation site request?
No, she never came.
Kim never showed up.
Alright.
So,
You know, Jim Bagnell had some concerns about that.
Okay.
So.
then
We
we'll
haven't done
just,
that for we haven't done that for any other daycare. I mean, maybe like an alternate site.
but since,
But because
since
we don't have
person
any,
was supposed to come, didn't come.
but we don't have any of the services that even are
Yeah, we
listed
can't be,
there.
right. I think we determined that we can't be the town's emergency site because
Right.
the generator,
We don't
you know,
have
any
generator
that's
of that
or
stuff.
so.
Okay.
So I don't know how we could,
But even like the list of services that it lists on there that
Yeah.
a shelter should have, we don't have.
Oh, okay.
yeah, and we're not, I mean, we're only here 4 days a week anyway.
So I think we didn't discuss it because,
She didn't show up.
Yes.
but,
Yeah.
I mean, it says check out the items that you provide.
okay.
We don't, I mean.
So I think unless those things can be addressed and the person to address them is not here. So at this time, we're not,
Oh, right,
yeah,
right.
okay.
I mean, I think if down the road we could be an alternate site if something happened with the main site.
Okay. Okay.
And Jim had reservations about it, so.
Okay. So then we're just not going, we're just
We're
gonna
just
keep
taking
it where it
action on
is.
that. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Fawn Davenport.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Fawn Davenport has requested that the town consider installing a utility sink in the building, as it takes a large portion of time to fill them up bucket from the bathroom sink. So, any thoughts on installing a utility sink?
What, in the basement? Where would it be?
In town garage? Is that what you're saying, or is it in
I think
town
about
hall?
Here.
Yeah,
They actually have, in their bathroom, they have a huge,
It would be,
they almost have a utility sink there.
it would be for
It
here.
would be here for here.
And basement?
we don't have a drain.
Well,
Well, for utility sink, would you have to have a drain?
Well, if you have a slop
drain sink
bucket,
after you fill it.
so then you have to carry the bucket upstairs?
Right,
Huh?
I don't know.
I don't know.
And we got no place to,
So there's some questions on this.
I mean, the only thing that we could do in the bathroom is put in let's say a pot filler, but put in a separate spigot.
Sure.
Without, don't need a drain for it,
Yeah.
just look
Right,
at.
just
possi-
fill up a bucket.
but
Yeah,
then,
just in a separate hose,
Yeah.
but if
with
she,
its own nozzle, its own,
but if she wants to dump it, then
then she's gotta pick it up and dump it in the sink. I mean,
That's what she's doing now, that's right.
could,
but she's having a hard time, apparently having a hard time filling it
Yeah,
with just a sink faucet.
yeah, so is the dumping it also part of this, or is it just the filling?
Yeah, I mean,
That might
dumping,
be a good solution.
I mean, if you're dumping it, you don't just have to dump it in the sink, you could dump it in the
Cold water
toilet.
line coming in, just put a tea in it and.
well, I presume she'd want hot and cold, but you
Yeah,
can still just
that's
tee
true.
off it, run it up to another, it's a simple
You
little,
wanna do this work, Mark?
I'm not a plumber. I'll do anything else you want to do, but I will not plumb. I hate it.
There we go. Okay.
but if we're spending the money to do, like, to put another faucet in, what if we just did like almost like the bottom of a shower? so that she could drain it into the
Well, because
ground.
now you've got a hole in the floor,
Right.
trap, piping through the basement.
Okay.
You just
Right.
doubled,
And
at least doubled the amount of money.
And still keep it handicap accessible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, never mind, I'll shut up.
Better keep that in mind too, right?
Yeah, but if you just put a
Yes.
faucet on the wall,
Yeah, no, but I'm saying if we added anything else.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
We're getting it to where wheelchair
right.
can't do it.
So just adding spigot.
Spigot
I
or
don't know if you wanna
hose.
reach out to Bill, just see what,
Yeah.
I mean, unless there is an option down in the basement.
Okay.
But then she-
drain down there, that's no
Yeah.
problem.
And then how does she get the
She's gonna
bucket?
carry it upstairs.
And then,
So
the
we fill
final-
it and dump it, pick it up to dump it.
Yep.
Or you carry it up the stairs.
so the final other business is that Sandy's planning a vacation around which you have. So we need to do our sun dances so that there is no unexpected issues such as last year's flood.
I went on vacation the day before the flood last year for 3 weeks on Cape Cod, and I looked on the TV and saw Blood Roll. I just came through there.
On the way down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, the day before.
I got my daughter up at camp in Plymouth
Ah,
the day before the flood.
I
Oh, no kidding.
will
Stop.
entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
So noted.